Are there other comments from the panelists? Anybody else want to comment?
Aha. Okay. We have a new panelist.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you bet.
Certainly, this is not personal. You know, my opponent is very eloquent. She's smart. She's tough. I would argue, however, that we really need representation who is going to represent progressive values and not be a member of the Blue Dog Coalition. I agree that fiscal responsibility is very important. However, when we are spending nearly $1 trillion on perpetual war and occupation, that's not fiscal responsibility.
Well, okay.
I also want to say that as a progressive, I would fight very hard to protect the greatest safety nets that we have, which is Social Security and Medicare. The Blue Dog Coalition, you know, in supporting a commission to study Social Security, this is code. This is code for cutting Social Security, raising the eligibility rate, and eroding the greatest American safety net. So regardless of whether we individually say we support that or not, to be aligned with that coalition is to send a message that anything's up for grabs in America. Everything is up for privatization. That's not acceptable.
Does the panel have other comments? Any other comments from the panel? Are we done on that topic?
Well, if I could just respond. The commission that was just mentioned is in the health care bill. I didn't put it in the health care bill. It was in the Senate health care bill, and you all, I'm sure, followed the careful, painful, endless process to pass any health care reform. And finally, it came down to taking the Senate bill and adding a few improvements. That was the only path forward, and that path forward was embraced by the leadership of the House. You know this. Speaker.
Are there other comments from the panel before we go on to the next topic?
Yes, I would just like to comment on something that happened with the passage of that health reform or health insurance reform legislation, and that is something that Jane and I are particularly aware of. This was an amendment that my opponent voted to kill, which would have fast-tracked affordable medication for breast cancer, brain cancer, HIV, Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, and many other illnesses. You know, the Federal Trade Commission did a study of the clinical trial data that is being used by Big Pharma. And the FTC said, you know what, there should be no exclusivity over this trial data. First of all, a lot of it's funded by us, taxpayers, the government. Secondly, it will promote a free market not to give Big Pharma exclusive control over this clinical trial data so that others cannot fast-track affordable medication. All right? Congressman Waxman wanted 5 years. President Obama, 7 years. My opponent voted with others to kill this amendment, to give Big Pharma 12 years exclusive control to life monopoly, because there is an evergreening clause in this legislation. If you had it to do over, would you vote differently?
If I had it to do over, I would vote for a better health care bill. Why I voted for that provision is, you know who put it in the bill? Everybody want to guess?
That was a committee vote, I believe, wasn't it?
Do you know who the author of it was and its strongest supporter? Do you know? Who? Anna Eshoo supported it in the House, but whose amendment was it originally in the Senate health care bill reported by the Senate Health Committee?
We're talking about a committee vote
well, I'm talking about health care.
The question is regarding a committee vote that you took.
All right. Yes, I did. Ted Kennedy was the author of that amendment because Ted Kennedy felt, and Anna Eshoo felt, and I felt, that biologics are very different from other forms of medicine. They are not identical. And I wanted to be sure that the products we use to do all the things Marcy Winograd just said, to cure diseases and cure cancer and treat all kinds of horrible things, are safe and effective.
So that
and
means
that was why I made that vote.
So so making them not available in generic form for 12 years makes them safer.
Well, the argument is that that makes them safer because it makes sure that they work. Yes, that's why.
No, nobody thought that. Even the pharmaceutical companies weren't saying that. They wanted it because of
I don't
cost.
talk to Big Pharma. They're not supporters of mine.